first and premier podcast about living in and visiting Gettysburg has returned from that long commercial break. Thanks for sticking around. Here's Matt.
You're from Boston, Christopher.
Yeah.
You got to pull that mic right to you.
Right to me.
This guy is a musician with a recording studio. He knows how to do everything, and he's sitting 5 feet away from the microphone.
Well, I thought it was one of those, omnis.
Omniscience? No, it's neither that nor the other. Chris is a Bostonian who moved here to Gettysburg because, well, like so many of us, he fell in love with the place. He loves the history. He loves the place. And then he moved down here and then he got into real estate here. Now, you were in real estate before you moved here. You have to point the microphone at your mouth. Jesus, Harold.
I am right here.
Point the microphone at your mouth. There you go. It's the end address. Thank you. All right, now we're better. Where was I?
You're from Boston.
I moved here.
No, so you moved here. What year did you move here?
2018.
2018. Okay.
Not that long ago.
No,
I thought you'd been here way longer.
Same year as I did.
2 years were COVID years, so they just, it seems like a short amount of time.
Yeah.
It does.
But it wasn't a short amount of time.
No, it's been 6 years now.
Yeah. And so you were a realtor there before you came here, right?
I was, yes.
Okay.
In New York.
In New York.
Boston, too.
And you, I'm sorry, I'm very distracted here because I don't understand why that microphone always sounds like you're 25 miles away. Okay.
How's that better?
That's better. There you go. Now you're showing what you know.
Well, all right.
Why'd you move here, Chris?
I'll give you the short.
Please do. We're
Life,
hungry.
liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Right.
Literally those things.
So you moved honestly, to Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Because,
ironic.
Yeah. The traffic, the hustle and the bustle,
Gotcha.
But it's even more than that. I had the ocean as my front yard for years.
Really?
Years. The ocean was literally, you see my house, so as close as East Calvary Battlefield is now to where I live, the Atlantic Ocean was my front yard.
Yeah, all right. So that's close.
It's very, very right on top of the
mile?
ocean. Not even, no.
No?
No, like
half
200
a mile?
yards.
200 yards.
Yeah.
200 yards.
We're going to have a Boston talking.
Yeah. We're going to give you
a
Boston to English dictionary.
Yeah.
I'm going to pass those out next time.
Right.
But yeah, as close as I am to the battlefield now, which is literally about 200 yards as well.
Yards.
The ocean was also as close. So I had the ocean all those years, but the rolling hills of Pennsylvania and the orchards and everything is just it's my ocean.
This part though, Adams County, is it is something special because I've been all over Pennsylvania. You're from Clarion. And
thanks.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Where the cassettes were made?
Where the call is from.
Oh, okay.
And
remember those cheap cassettes, the Clarions?
No, I don't think I do.
They came in a package of 5 and they were like 25 cents.
Were they tan?
They were like orange with swirls in them.
Yeah, I remember
nothing
those.
that interesting has been made in Clarion.
Remember those?
Yes,
We'd stick them in the boxes.
They wouldn't last very long.
No.
So, okay, so yeah, but like I've been all over Pennsylvania for the most part, and
I can't get over the hair. It's just, I'm sorry. Go ahead, though.
What's wrong with the
I'll
hair?
take you seriously.
I think it's gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
While it is beautiful, it's not the same as here. Wherever you go in PA, Poconos, other mountains, the Pittsburgh area. There's beautiful things about all these places, but it's not the same.
It doesn't rise up to home.
You literally talk about this all the time, about how you don't want people moving here and you don't want people to ruin it, and then you talk about how amazing it is. You need to
I know that, but here's the thing. I can't stop a tidal wave. And I was driving in on 30, and there's, first of all, the construction of what used to be Camp Letterman, is rolling along.
Yeah, it is.
And then I see a billboard for some, new condos or something that I don't recognize the picture. I don't recognize the facade of the condos that it's showing. So I'm like, well, that must be something new that they're doing, pre-build sales on. And so I'm like, this is why I'm looking to the west. Number one. Number two,
towards Clarion.
Towards Clarion. Not that far west.
Up on a hill.
No further than the mountain. I'm not going over the mountains. And then there's
against the mountains?
I don't want to get further than the mountains. I don't like what's past the mountains.
You want to be out towards me.
I want to, yeah. I want to be out in that area there, or Tana.
I honestly think, I know,
that's so funny. Allegedly. He honestly thinks.
I honestly think that my neighbor, the one we've talked about, will be selling that house soon.
Well, hopefully, this house that we got under contract now will go through. But I always have my doubts. So hurry up and get a hold of that lady.
I haven't seen her in a long time. I don't think she's been around.
Maybe she's passed on.
I'll give you my card.
There you go. Give her a card. Just slide it under the door. But anyway, so no, it is a beautiful area though, like compared to other parts of Pennsylvania, and even just going over the line in Maryland, same landscape, not quite the same though, not quite the same.
No.
And it's something nice. All right, so you move here, start getting into real estate, but you're also a music teacher.
Yeah.
And you're number 14 of Bethany's boyfriends. You didn't know that. She loves your sparkling eyes.
I'm number 13.
I'm rising.
Sorry.
Is that?
You're rising. Yeah. You're getting there.
You are pretty hot.
Whoa. A love connection.
Listen,
just saying.
Bethany, Beth is like...
That's the most confident I've ever seen you, I think.
She's like, you're hot to trot, man.
All
like,
she got to do is be talking to a guy she likes.
I've seen his picture on his business card, man. I took that home. I showed it to Mom, too.
Oh, my God.
Really?
I'm hearing
Mom,
snorts.
Look at this guy.
Oh, yeah, that was me snorting.
Yeah.
So you've got a big crush on him, and we've always known this. But you, clearly, like, does Mark know this? Do you tell him? Because you have crushes on like a lot of men
all
around
the time.
here.
Yeah.
Oh. So
where do I stand between me and Scott Hardwick? Where do I?
Oh no, Scott's
he's
all
up
the way
there.
at the top, right?
He's
Scotty the hottie.
Who's number one?
Mark, of course.
No. I mean, you cannot excluding your husband.
Right.
Oh.
I would ask you who number 2 is, but everybody knows the answer to that.
What?
It's poop.
Oh my God, Colby! 2 weeks in a row with this scatological humor.
You liked it. I see you. I see your face.
I'm hearing cackling, like even in the back.
I know. Yeah.
All right. So who's your number 1, Bethany?
I'd have to.
Come on, you got
graded.
it.
They're not graded. I just love people.
You do. You have a crush on Ralph.
I have a crush on everybody.
You don't really have a type.
No.
It's any and all walks of life, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
You go from Ralph Siegel to Chris is a huge jump.
It's really. Are they adorable? It's more of an adorableness.
So you're more of a personality person.
Yes.
But with Chris, he's
not
hot.
personality.
No, you are very sweet.
Oh.
You're very sweet.
Chris is a sweet guy,
wouldn't
we
say that.
keep
I
telling
don't
you.
say
I don't know.
lately.
You seemed more confident when you said he was hot.
Well,
I think
he
I'm
is
going to
hot.
stick with your original answer.
Okay.
Speaking of hot, how about
sweet.
this?
I'm like a
You're a sweetheart.
Chinese buffet.
You are like a Chinese buffet.
Hot, sweet.
Yeah, and
Like a spicy General
a
Sour.
variety of
Sour.
personalities
I
to
can be
choose
a little
from.
sour. We know this.
Yeah. No, but you really, I have to tell you, folks, that you really, if you want a realtor to go to bat for you, this is the guy here. I mean, really, it's not been fun. And, they always say that buying a house is not fun. I've always heard people say that. And I go, what could be not fun about that? You get to look at other houses.
Now you know.
Now I know. It is miserable.
Yeah. You're catching something that's even the normal buyers are not used to getting.
Right. No. We're getting bullied, I would say, is the answer. And so, but you don't have to answer that. Of course, I don't want you to get yourself in trouble or anything. Yeah. So I will say that. But yeah.
Hair, bro.
Yeah.
But no, but you tell us about the music though, because you write music and you record music as well.
I do. And that's been on the back burner a little bit. Now I've been teaching for a long time, years and years and years. But one of the things that recently I've done is just take on more students. And so I'm up in Carlisle. And I teach at a music store called JW Music.
Okay.
Give them a quick plug there. And they've had me teach there, and they're adding students just at a really crazy pace. Mm-hmm. So my Wednesdays got all filled up all the way till about 8:00 at night. And now my Tuesdays are also getting that way too.
Now, is it because of your eyes? Is that what it is?
It
They're
is.
all falling in love
He
with
has
your eyes.
beautiful eyes.
All the mothers have crushes on Chris, and they want their kids to learn music, right?
What
it's,
do you teach?
It's weird.
It is
weird.
It is weird. I don't get it.
That's weird. Yeah, right. No, I teach guitar.
Guitar.
And bass and songwriting and music theory. And I'll even teach, like I said, songwriting, music theory, guitar, vocal lessons.
Nice.
All of it, yeah. Songwriting. I like rather than teaching kids how to play Van Halen or something, it's all about teaching them how to be a songwriter, because they'll take those skills into life and they'll forget how to play Eruption 2 days later. Whereas I find that the skills of like teaching music theory will give will give them the skills to say, hey, I like poetry. Hey, I like playing acoustic guitar and I know some great chords. Why don't I put the two together to write songs? That's more plausible than thinking I'm going to be the next Eddie Van Halen, right? I mean, so that's been my theory with people all along, even though I could spend time, like I have, one student who wants to do that, Van Halen kind of stuff and all that. So I use that as an example because it's the opposite of where I'd like to go for him. It's like, hey, I could teach you how to do this and we could spend the whole time doing that. But don't you want to know what's underneath it, what he thinks about when he's playing this, for example, rather than just connecting the dots and tracing.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So,
I found like it's one thing to like a band or an artist and learn how to play their song. Right. Mm-hmm. But then when you learn the theory behind their song and what they're actually doing there, it to me, it made it easier to write songs.
Makes it easier.
Right. Because now you understand that like, there's like what, 7 songs that have ever been written and everything else is just a regurgitation of those songs or a arrangement of those songs.
A regurgitation of Bach. I love Bach.
Well,
I do. And I study Bach. And I love him so much. And
what about Haydn?
I like Haydn a lot. Haydn's a cool cat. Yeah. Okay. But, I love, so Miles Davis, I'm wearing a shirt of his.
Right, I see
just
that.
Ironically enough. But he went to his band members once and he said, man, you got to play that Bach. You got to play that Bach, man. And then you got to swing it, man. And so that's what you do. You get Bach underneath your fingernails and then you swing it and then you are a jazz player.
Right.
It's really incredible.
What do you say to students that maybe don't know how to play an instrument and are not very musically inclined?
There it is. Swing, daddy, swing. I say start simple. What is it? The music. What is the music that you listen to that inspires you first of all? Mm-hmm. And then they tell me that, and I'm like, okay, I could show you chords that'll inspire you as well.
I say take up basketball.
Yeah.
What if they're also not sports inclined?
Then I say take up reading. Or what is that you do, Debbie? With the thing that your zipper made a noise on? Cross stitch. Take up cross stitch.
I am good at cross stitch.
She's a wizard back there.
There you go. And you're not good at music or basketball, so that's perfect.
Last time I played basketball, I broke both my arms at the same time.
Bethany, if you want to learn an instrument.
Really? For real? Mm-hmm. For real?
Yeah, for real.
Both
you broke both?
She's like Robert E. Lee.
Yeah.
Dang.
That's Debbie's zipper.
Bethany, if you want to learn an instrument, you just got to spend time on it, really. I mean, that's the big thing is people trying to learn a new instrument.
Colby, she doesn't want to learn an instrument.
I do want to learn an instrument.
No, she doesn't want to.
You kind of need to
practice.
You need to be obsessed with it a little bit.
It's a nightmare. You'll hate it. Don't even bother.
But if you get it, you'll love it. It's like speaking a different language.
Well, that's what I always tell my students. It's like, you're coming to me for a language. I always use that.
I'm horrible at that too. So.
Well, that's true. It is a new language. That's why it's best if you can do it as a little kid. It's harder to do as an adult, to learn it as an adult.
It depends on everybody.
Yeah.
Literally. It's so individual.
We're all different.
Speaking of language.
Oh, geez.
Say these words.
Oh, here we go. Draw, coffee, and stairs.
Coffee.
Stairs. I
say coffee.
No, say it again.
Coffee. Draw.
All right. Let me show the audience.
Is that here. Drawer? Is that what you're saying?
Drawer.
Okay. So look here.
Yeah, you guys would say drawer.
Go ahead. Wait.
Drawer.
There we go.
It's a drawer.
So say them.
Draw.
Draw.
Coffee.
Stairs.
Stairs.
Stairs
is my favorite. I like
stairs.
Stairs.
It's quick though. Just Stairs.
So
There you go.
Drawer.
Drawer. Right. We say drawer. Open the drawer.
They say draw.
And you say draw.
Now,
Coffee.
How about here's a better word that, like, when I say it, sometimes people look at me like, huh? Because in real estate, you come across these things. The word parlor.
Parlor.
Parlor, right?
Yeah.
It's a parlor.
Parlor.
Right? I'm like, hey, that's a beautiful parlor.
Yeah.
They're like, how's a parlor?
Well, how about
parlor? Sorry.
Foyer?
Foyer.
You say foyer?
I do. I don't say foyer. What do you
Foyer.
I do both.
Do you?
I do both. Foyer. I go foyer.
Foyer.
Yeah.
oh yay!
Yes. I left my coat in the foyer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Never said that.
Or foyer.
Yeah, foyer.
It depends on the
Foyer.
audience.
But it would be a foyer
If I'm
for
talking to
us.
somebody who's more educated than me, it's a foyer. And then
Foyer sounds like you should be 50 cal, you know? Foyer from the hood, 50 calorie. Like 50 cents.
oh, I get it. Oh, I get it. Okay,
Was that the joke?
that wasn't
Yeah,
bad.
it was my joke.
that the
and
joke, Colby?
you laughed at it.
Yeah,
in all
she laughed.
fairness.
She laughed.
I
I
saw
didn't laugh at the joke. I laughed at Matt's reaction to the joke.
You bent double from laughing at the joke.
I didn't laugh at the joke. I laughed at Matt's reaction to the joke.
You need a disco ball in here.
I know.
Well, what is this
What
big
is
thing
that?
you got?
This thing?
What do you call that?
Here, hold on. Let me give us a little.
Not a disco ball. That's a
Look at
China.
this thing.
China. What do they call it? A China bulb or a Japanese
globe.
lantern or something?
It
China
doesn't
globe.
do it justice in that shot.
No, it actually looks smaller in that shot, but it's enormous. It's about the size of.
Are we still talking about? Are we still talking about this light?
Jesus, Mary Mother.
You wait to say that after I say what it's the size of, Colby.
Is it 3 inches?
Colby gets an idea and he just like throws it out there before the bit has worked out. Anyway, Chris, I'm sorry. This is so rude. We're taking up your precious time here.
Yeah, come on. I got stuff to do.
Yeah. Okay. So listen. Oh, wait. What's this?
I haven't heard that one in a minute.
Okay, so the music though is so you're doing new music, you're doing the real estate and everything like that. Now, when people there's a lot of people in this audience who dream of moving here. What would the first piece? First piece of advice would be
save your money.
No. The first piece of advice would be get Chris to be your agent.
Of course.
Okay. Second piece of advice that you would give people would be save your money.
Continually save your money while you're looking. Yeah.
Yes.
Put your money away don't take that vacation anymore.
Right. You don't need it.
Don't need it. I used to spend a lot of money, and this is probably the same for people that have moved here over the years, but I used to spend all my vacation time, even when I worked on the railroad, I would spend all my vacation time in Gettysburg. So all my vacation money would come to Gettysburg, Gettysburg, all that. So I would say instead of taking that vacation to Gettysburg and spending all that money while you're looking at houses, save it.
Yeah.
That's the best because,
but how are they going to look at a house from a distance if they're not coming to Gettysburg?
I'm getting to that.
Yeah.
So what I used to do was, and the market has changed quite a bit. So I used to come and I would take a vacation every few months when a certain amount of houses that came on the market that I was interested in were on the market. And I'd say, look, I'm going to set up a couple of days in a hotel room and I'm going to see 6 houses. And I used to do that every single time. Every time. And so I would say if you're going to, and when I mean save your money and don't spend it on a vacation to Gettysburg, you can do a vacation to Gettysburg inexpensively. I mean, you come on an off day like a Tuesday, Wednesday, and you go to a hotel here, and you're not spending the kind of money you would during Remembrance Day weekend.
Yeah.
Sure.
That kind of thing. Do those kinds of things and be smart about how you spend your money here and when you spend it. Come on a Tuesday, Wednesday, go for a tour with me. We'll go out and look at a bunch of houses. But
what are some of the pitfalls that it might maybe they're not unique to Gettysburg, but that maybe say for us like a first time home buyer wouldn't anticipate? I'll give you a couple of
closing costs.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a biatch.
That's a pitfall because people don't realize that they're like, okay, well the house is $2 $200,000, but it's
You're actually paying more than that.
$15,000 in closing costs, pal. Like, you know, and then you try to what? Like, I don't. So you have to. That's why I said that comes into the save your money while you're looking thing that I'm talking about.
Maybe start saving your money before you start looking.
Oh, well, 100% you should.
Well, not everybody can or does, but you know.
But keep it realistic,
right?
One of the things I did that I was very proud of myself for, instead of going to the bank and saying, how much can I spend? I went to them and said, this is what I want to spend a month.
Yeah.
And they went
into it.
So you did it backwards.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I was so worried that it would
you'd be house poor.
I'd be house poor. And I would get my heart set on a house.
And then not be able to afford it.
Yeah.
You're chasing it every month.
Yeah.
Right.
And you don't want to be living paycheck to paycheck or month to month. And I get that. It's important to budget yourself and your lifestyle and your living. It is. The other pitfalls. Having a sense of what you're willing to fix in a house.
This is a great one.
Right?
Yes.
Because anyone can replace a water heater. You're going to call the guy. The water heater is going to come in, right? But the porch is decrepit, right? The porch and the deck needs fixing. Are you going to do that? Is your contractor buddy going to do that? Are you know what I mean? Are you savvy enough to do that yourself? You're going to save money by doing it yourself, or you're going to pay the guy. And that comes, and those kinds of things, finishing a basement, they're expensive. It's, and now materials have gone up through the roof, as we all know. So I would say that those are the kinds of things, like when people look at a house, and for example, we saw a house right on Baltimore Pike, and it needed a new kitchen. Man, this kitchen was outdated. And I looked at it and I said, you put in a new kitchen in this house, and it's the value of this house goes up about $40,000. That's how old that kitchen was.
Wow.
But are you going to do that work, or are you going to pay the guy? Because it's double if you're paying the guy. Double it.
Yeah.
Those are the kinds of pitfalls that people don't look at. They're like, oh, well, I went to Home Depot and I saw a prefabbed kitchen. That kind of thing. It's so. That's another pitfall.
How about things? Because this is something that we've been discussing in our summer-long journey here. Is the price of houses. COVID screwed up the whole market, right? And so people were selling their houses for ridiculous amounts of money
with low interest rates.
With low interest rates, yeah, and
sight unseen, no home inspections. And that's, I guess, changing now. That's starting to normalize. I don't know. Would you say it's going back to a buyer's market, or would you say it's just starting to go to the middle of the road now? I would say it's starting to go to the middle of the road.
You got to go to the middle first,
more
I guess.
Normalcy to it. I mean, home inspectors were like, they were leaving their job. I mean, you didn't even have them for a while there. And now that's all coming back. That's normalizing things.
Right.
Because it's saying, something comes up. Okay, we need a seller's credit. A seller's credit? God, I haven't seen a seller's credit in like 3 years.
Now, what's a seller's credit?
Seller's credit, there's a mold issue. And
so in other words, they're gonna take it off the sale price,
and they're gonna give you a credit to take care of that at closing.
Okay.
During COVID years, those kinds of things weren't even happening.
Yeah.
People buying the house without even knowing there was a mold
obnoxious.
issue. It was a truly in the sense a seller's market.
Yeah.
I mean, truly, like
probably more than ever. Right?
More than ever that I could at least
in
remember.
Our lifetimes.
More than I could ever remember.
So one of the things that has just boggled our minds is after the first house fell through, we started looking again. And the first 3 houses we looked at had no kitchen. Well, I'm sorry. They had a kitchen, but they didn't have the 2 things you need for a kitchen. Oh, yeah. An oven / stove or a refrigerator. One of them had room for only one or the other, but not both.
Yeah.
And here's what's driving me nuts. It's almost, it kind of actually insults me when I go into a house and they're asking $380, $400, something like that, right? And you go into the house and everything at first glance is brand new. New paint, new floor, new cabinets, new turlet, new vanity, new all this, right? But then you look closely and it's that Lowe's prefabbed kitchen or Lowe's prefab bathroom, and the floor is that stuff that's made to look like wood.
Laminate.
It's laminate, yeah, and it's like, okay, that's
lipstick on a pig.
It's lipstick on a pig. You're and like this one house in particular was up in the mountains, right out in the Fairfield area. Nice, quiet little dell, a little valley in the mountain there. And it was, you can tell, it was built as a vacation home. There's no storage whatsoever. This is a home that you do not occupy all year long. You summer there, you bring what you need, you put it in the closets, and then you go, right? Now they're trying to sell it for $400,000.
Oh my.
Or it was $380. I think it was $380. Something like that, right?
You're talking about the A-frame one?
No. No, the one it was the 2-floor. It didn't have the stove or the refrigerator.
Oh, that one.
And we were standing there going, how do you not have a stove or refrigerator?
That one was unique. Terrible. I mean, I went back to, you have to remember, after every house that we see, I don't know if you know this, I may have mentioned this once before, but every house, and we've seen almost 50 properties together.
Have we really?
46.
Are you
46
kidding me?
properties.
Cindy, did you know that?
I knew it was up there, but that's more than I thought.
It's way more than I thought.
He's got to do paperwork every single.
And you know what's so go ahead.
So what I was going to say is that I have to give comments on every single property that we've looked at. They want a feedback. Okay.
So what do they all start with? What are you, nuts?
Some of them have gotten very interesting. You know what the other thing was? We mentioned this one. We were going to a house that we saw, and you wanted to talk to Cindy about it. I said, I had to leave the comments, man, on this one because I couldn't hold back. And I told him, I said, basically, are you nuts?
What were the comments?
You're out. You're way out of bounds with the price you're asking.
Which one was this?
The one that was near the golf course.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and it was a hodgepodge
down south of town.
Yeah, yes. It was a hodgepodge. Remember, every room needed something. Remember, every single room was like unfinished.
No, wait, the place that was right next to the cornfield.
No, the place that was across the street.
Is this the one that had the?
From the
White House?
It was a huge house.
Oh, that wasn't south of town. That's west of town. That's out in Ortana.
Towards Ortana, but it had to get it.
No, it was Ortana. I know it was right on Carroll's. No, it wasn't Carroll's Tract. Yeah, it was Carroll's Tract Road.
Carroll's Tract Road.
It was
we're getting too.
No, we're not going to say the name.
Right.
But it sold.
But it sold at less than.
Because you said you need to knock like 50 grand off or something like that, and they knocked 20 off and it sold.
Yeah.
But the thing is though, is like it would have been great, except every room. It was like they started a project and then said, nah, let's not do that. Let's move into this room and do something else. And so like in the living room, I remember they like cut the drywall in the shape of a door and then realized, oh, the shower's on the other side, or I don't know what they did, but they just stopped. And so now they just put a couch up against it and it's like you got insulation in your face. That's the thing that really boggles my mind. And I have to say, thank God for the parents that I had, because people do not take care of their homes. And I don't understand it. They say it's the biggest investment you'll ever make. Yes. And these places are falling apart.
Now, with a house like that, it's a perfect example of what we were talking about. That would be a contractor's dream. A guy that is, or a team that is savvy enough to go, good shell, terrible layout. Right. Terrible layout.
Awful layout.
We are going to take these walls down. We're going to turn this into a...
Flip it.
Right.
Yeah. They put an addition on the back of the house.
That was like...
And they spray painted the window over the kitchen sink.
I remember.
Yeah.
I mean, so there are things that we've run into that are very interesting like that, especially when you see that many properties. But like that one right there, that is a contractor's dream right there. That would be a money pit for him.
Yes.
But a contractor's dream where they could just have that square footage.
But it was on 3 acres.
Yeah.
And it was across from a golf course, and nobody's building any houses there anytime soon. And it was otherwise a perfect place. Like Colby, like out by Colby, like, you know, that area is so beautiful out there.
I love it. I love living out there.
How could you not? It's like living in a little slice of heaven.
There are houses that I've seen that I'm like, oh man, if I could just pick this house up and put it on a different piece of property.
We had about 60 properties that we looked at like that.
Yeah.
There was one in Littlestown that was completely redone inside, right? Like everything was brand new. It was probably built, what would you say, 1890s, 1900s? Like
early 1900s.
Yeah, early 1900s, old brick house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was on a busy road. And I remember when we looked at the listing online first, Cindy showed me an aerial photo of it. And she's like, look, there's a farm behind it. And I'm like, in Littlestown, that is a neighborhood waiting to happen. And then we pull up and guess what they're building? A neighborhood, right? So already I don't want the place. But we go in and I'm like, man, this is great. The kitchen was great. Everything was just really nice and well done. And I remember afterwards, Chris said, okay, this house or the house in Ortana that you liked that we put an offer in and it didn't work, and I said, take this house and put it on the Ortana property and I'm happy. And that's the problem. It's like, it's perfect here except for that. So you got to move, but this is perfect except for that. And if you could only move them, but that would be just too expensive. You can't go around doing that.
Yeah, very rarely do you come across one where you're like, oh, this is everything I wanted.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to be willing to pay an astronomical.
Or the only way you could do that is if you had the money to just build the house the way you want it.
Yeah.
The funny thing too about that particular one in Littlestown is it's the kind of house you see in Gettysburg around, like
absolutely
outside looking, but then inside, no. When you go into those houses in Gettysburg, they're like they have all 50s, kitchens and low ceilings. Where that one, they literally gutted this and made it modern.
Yes.
And it's funny how they're not for sale in Gettysburg anyway.
Right. No, they're still living in them. They modernize them and they're living in them.
But those kinds of opportunities. And so we looked at that and said, that's another thing you look at. If that opportunity were in Gettysburg, it would be a lot more money because it's in Gettysburg, that kind of thing too. So,
What, okay. So, but this is Gettysburg a tough nut to crack if you want to move here? Because I know people who've been trying to move here, and it was, house after house. We almost have it.
Low inventory town.
Low inventory, but everybody wants to get here.
It's a unique situation. Yeah.
I'm really getting sick of the word unique.
Oh, yeah, right? No, he's had it with unique. Him and me both.
Because when we couldn't get the appraisal on the first house, they kept going, it's a unique property. We can't do it. It's a unique property.
Yeah.
I wanted to take unique and shove it up there. So
unique ass.
They're unique asses. So would you recommend, this is what I recommend people do when they want to move here. Because everybody wants to live in Gettysburg, right?
They want that Gettysburg address.
Right.
They do.
Move to Bonneville.
But you want, no. They want to live in the town of Gettysburg.
Right.
Because
I live in Bonneville and my address is Gettysburg.
No. But they want to live in the town of Gettysburg, within the borough limits is what I'm saying.
Dumb.
I think I know the question that's coming.
Well, okay. So what is it? See if you know.
So what would you do?
You're like
the question's
a Disney villain.
Do you recommend, I say recommend anything in a 20-minute circumference of Gettysburg.
No, that wasn't my question.
Oh. See,
would you recommend that if someone really, because you know how it is when you get something in your blood, right? We love Gettysburg. We get this idea. I don't know about you, but I wanted to live in town because when I visited, I always stayed in town. So my connection, my memories, my good feelings were towards town.
Yeah,
and so I moved in town and I lived in town, and there, it was great for a while.
Yeah.
And then finally I was like, I want wide open spaces. I want more. There's more to the world. I don't want to be confined to a town. There's people. They smell. No, they don't smell. But there's people around, and I don't want people around. I want to be able to, just relax and quiet and stretch out naked. And so town is not the place to do that. But I rented. I did not buy in town. And then I knew people who owned in town, and they're like, I wish I had never bought in town because I have to deal with the borough and all of their insanity and all that stuff. And so I'm glad I didn't, based on what they went through. And I don't know if the borough is still that way. This is a while ago. I'm sure it hasn't changed much. But the point is, you got to get that out of your system. Rent in town. Get a feel for the area. Get a feel for what it's like out in Ortana or Barlow 2 Taverns or where do I live? Strabane Township, or, like all these surrounding areas. See what it's like. Go out, drive around, see if you could picture yourself living there eventually. Well, and then when you do, and you're ready to buy, keep saving to buy.
But you're looking in a town like Cashtown or New Oxford, and you find it does kind of pertain to what we were saying. Like, you don't mind driving 15 minutes down the road to get to town if you can stretch out and have that kind of space. And there are unique opportunities out there when you get out of town.
Yeah, there are. But it's also like, just imagine living in town.
City people love it even more. That's maybe city people, but people that aren't used to having that kind of space, that's what they end up loving about here too. They don't, in a way, they start to resent being in town too, because they're the first ones to complain. Oh, the neighbors, they're driving me crazy. They're bikers. Oh, they're playing Slayer at 2 a.m.
That's the thing. It's like, you don't, in a town, you don't know who your neighbors are going to be.
Right.
You don't know who they're going to be in the country, but at least you could put some distance between you.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it could be Chris, right?
You don't want me as neighbor.
No, but so that is the thing about living outside of town that it's nice. And I'm not talking in these not prefab, but these cookie cutter neighborhoods. I'm talking like out in the, like the areas that haven't been built in, say they're at least 25 years old, if not more, right? Those areas, they're nice. They're quiet. That brewery that we went to, right? And we were all excited because it was
Thirsty Farmer.
Yeah, Thirsty Farmer. Yeah. It was 3 miles from the house we were going to buy, and it was a few miles from Colby and his wife Tay Tay, and we're like, we can meet them out here, and we could still do it if we get the place that we're getting. But the place that we're getting now, that we hopefully are getting now, would be Fairfield, and that's a great little town. There's some good restaurants there. Mm-hmm. It's just, the thing is, like, you got to go grocery shopping. You're not going to Fairfield. You got to come out here.
Right.
You want to go to Sam's Club or something, you got to go to Hanover. So you're a little further away from things, but it's a better quality of life.
That leads to your point, though.
That's right.
If you rent here, you can kind of figure out where all those things are. Do you know how many towns you've ever driven through in your life where you go, where do these people shop?
Yes. Or where do these people work?
Yeah. There's nothing here. Where do they go?
Well, and that's the thing. And Cindy, you can comment on this, of course. If when she would show me a listing that she found on realtor.com or something like that, I'd look at it and I'd look at the address. I'm like, oh, no, you don't want to go there. And I would just, whole cloth, I would just be like, no, you don't want to. Because I rented and I traveled around and I know people who live in different places. And so I would go and see everything. And it probably wasn't so fun for her because she liked the look of the house. Mm-hmm. And I would too. But I'm like, I just couldn't wake up every day in Bonneville knowing that Bethany is so close. Something like that.
So me. Is he like this to you all the time?
All the time.
Never. That was
here's the problem.
First mean thing I ever said to you.
You are full of it.
It's true.
I just hate you, and I hate your ass face.
Bethany, don't say that to me.
Good comeback. Thank you.
The constant belittling that I deal with.
Oh, please.
Dibbick schmibbick. I said more ham.
Anyway, we like to bust balls. So
0.0.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so
some of those towns have interesting qualities about them, good and bad. You have to weigh those things out. Yeah. You have to, how far is it to Gettysburg? How far is it to go shopping? There was one time I was showing a place out in Fairfield, of all places, and then they said, well, where's the nearest shopping center? I was like, shopping center? Like,
Senna. Shopping center.
Shopping center. I don't even have them out here.
Yeah, really.
Like, so there are different...
Hanover. The answer is always Hanover or Chambersburg or Frederick.
Frederick.
Yeah.
When you're as close to where I am, Frederick is a good option. And I like Frederick more and more and more every time I go.
Yeah, why?
And there are parts of Hanover that I even like more and more and more too. Believe it or not.
What, for shopping or for living?
There are parts of Hanover I've run into where I'm like, oh, this is nice. This is cool. Yeah. And I like the Hanover markets.
The markets in Hanover.
Yes, the markets in Hanover. Big plug for Susie's Mexican in Hanover Markets over there. Yeah,
she's all right. Who owns that?
Susie.
No, the markets in Hanover.
Who does?
No. Who? Mr. and Mrs.
I'll
Market?
tell you later.
Oh, okay. Is it somebody I know?
Someone we should know?
I know somebody who owns the markets of Hanover.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I know them, or I've met them.
Know them.
Dang.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
How do I not know this?
Mm-hmm.
Spell it out for me.
I will when we're not.
No.
Because I don't know if they want people to know.
The audience can't spell.
The audience can't spell.
Real nice.
Have you seen the comments? Have you seen the comments?
Do you hear how he talks about you guys?
Shut up! Don't tell them. By the way. Let's see. Darren Week says, as a lender and new resident, I can tell you nothing is more important than doing your budget and then changing your mindset. Changing your mindset. Somebody told me, don't fall in love with the house until you're actually in it. It's a business transaction. You got to look at it that way. And I know it's hard to do. Most people, you fall, but it hurts to dream and then have your dreams dashed. Crushed. Right.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there's a business aspect to it. It's like you said, knowing what your monthly budget was and sticking to that is better than saying, hey, I want the $400,000 house and I'll do anything to get into it. Mm-hmm. That's not a good approach. But it also is, that's why it is important to talk to your lender and work with them and find out what it is you can afford. They're going to tell you what you can afford, of course. But you should know how to stay within your means.
Yeah, the bank that we worked with really wanted me to tell me how much
that you can
that I can go to. And I was like, no, I only want to spend this amount. And she's like, but you can do so much more. I'm like,
no.
I am aware that I only want to do this much. And I think she thought I was a psycho. But the house I live in, I am not strapped each month when I go to pay my bills, one, and two, because of the way things have been and the amount of money I was able to save on the selling price, I have then used it to fix up my home. And now my home is worth way more.
Million of equity already.
Yeah.
And even people now where the market's starting to even out a little bit, there's no investment like a home, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even stocks don't pay off as well. So eventually what'll happen is equity will happen. And then you can put that kind of money and do the thing that you wanted to do to the house with the equity that you have.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good stuff in the comments here. Let's see. Where does it start? Darren, our buddy Darren Weeks says, get pre-approved by a lender before you start. Also get out of vacation. This is the best advice. And I give this to everybody is you have to understand before you move here that there is a huge difference between when you visit on vacation
and live.
So in other words, happy times, and you live your life here, which is every type of time. Happy, sad, miserable, in between, and all that crap, right?
Remember, you were once a tourist, too.
Yes, you were once a tourist, too. And, right, which is why I feel bad about getting annoyed by tourists, because I just picture me and my dad, and I'm like, oh, people thought that about us? Mm-hmm. But yes, they did. And so, but you have to get out of vacation mode because you have to realize that now you're living your life and you're living it here. Mm-hmm. And it is not, it's very exciting when you first move here, but nobody cares. Nobody's impressed that you're impressed that you're finally living here, but everybody else is like, yeah, this is just life. Humdrum, ho hum, and you have to disabuse yourself of that very quickly.
How's this?
Yes.
Get through the months of December through April.
Right. Visit in that time. Okay. That was my next thing. Visit in the off season, and you'll see what it's like.
It's slower.
Everybody looks like they're about to hang themselves.
It's
right. You go into your favorite bar and they're like,
not true.
"What can I get you?"
It is a ghost town, though.
It is a ghost town.
It's a little slower.
Just know, moving here, if you like eating dinner after 8 p.m.,
you're
not doing it out in town.
Learn to cook.
No, if you like doing anything after
Thursday.
If you like doing anything after 8 p.m., you're not doing it here in Gettysburg. But there are places where you can. You just have to be willing to go out of Gettysburg.
Frederick.
And also, you're going to find that the places that you love to frequent as a tourist,
you're never going to go there again.
You're very rarely going to go there again because you don't want to deal with the tourists. And also, you find that there's... I'm not bashing, but there's not, I'm not going to say better food elsewhere, but there's more of a variety of foods in Hanover, Chambersburg, Carlisle, Frederick.
Awesome.
And you're going to start going, well, let's go to Frederick. And it's more exciting to actually get out of town.
Yeah.
With that said, and I think this is more by virtue of what I do for a living than anything else, but I do really feel like I'm on vacation every day still. And but I've also been very good at deluding myself throughout my entire life. So maybe that's why. But for most people, and I've seen this happen where someone moves down here, they do it impulsively, rather rashly, like from this one couple, and this is going back 20 years. They came down, they took a bike tour, and they loved the place so much they came and visited again like 2 months later. And I'm like, what are you doing back so soon? And they're like, we're looking for a place. We're moving down here. They had no jobs lined up. They had no idea what the job market was like down here. That's the second biggest piece of advice I can give you is if you're not retiring down here, then you need to really, really figure out, or if you're not, if you're working remotely or you're independently wealthy, that's different. But if you need to work, you need to figure out what it's like to work here because you're not working in town. Unless you're like a doctor or a lawyer.
That right there is the best piece of advice. It's an awakening. No, it's an awakening. Remotely, because I came here with a remote job.
Yeah.
And that was great until COVID came, and then that all shut it down.
Yeah.
And I had to reinvent myself, and you have to do that, But
and you've got a mansion on the lake,
and there's not.
So you got to make that nut every month,
Yeah.
And as we will talk about in the news, one of our biggest thing is tourism. And if you're not in the tourism industry, don't expect to find a plethora of jobs.
No.
And
get sheets.
Yeah. Everybody always says, "Oh, your husband's in IT. He'll be able to find a job right away."
Not here.
Not around here. He won't.
And if you do, it's going to be a place that doesn't realize that you need to pay IT people well.
It's basically the college.
Basically
the college or WellSpan.
Oh yeah.
So
they've got well, wait. Before you go on, let me just finish off with the comments here, and then we'll move on. I read that about down in the resident. Peter Zach, great advice here. Great observation, actually. He says, okay, something is making a nest in Matt's fake hair. September says it's the birds from the Gettysburg bird feeder cam. Sixth question says, I would not want to live in town. Moving to Chambersburg was the best idea for me. It gave me somewhere to go and still able to visit Gettysburg.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
I guess what I'm saying is like if you come and visit here and you love to do it, the best thing you could do to keep Gettysburg special is to not live in it and keep visiting it. And
there's some truth to that.
But you live what, 3 miles out of town?
Yeah.
Right? That's as far. You don't need to go any further than that. I'm not saying live in Maryland. I'm saying just don't live in town. Mm-hmm. Although there are things I do miss about living in town. There's, obviously the convenience. You can walk to a lot of places. There's always something going on. And you're living in the town of Gettysburg. You're not living in, bum F small town somewhere. You're living in Gettysburg. And it's cool. And there's been a lot of notable people who've lived here. So there's a coolness to living in the town. And I say when you do that, rent. Mm-hmm. Rent in the town, get a feel for the area, explore the surrounding areas, and you're going to find your private Idaho.
Real quick, I have one more point.
And your blue heaven.
One of the things that was shocking to me. Now, thank God I lived in York in between. Wow. That's a sentence I never thought I would say.
Nobody has ever said, thank God I lived in York. The only people that said, thank God I lived in York were the founders when the British took Philadelphia.
But I lived in York in between. So I had some idea of what living in a bigger town was like. Because everybody always says, oh, Gettysburg is such a small, little, cute little town. It's not. Like, if you're actually used to a small town.
Yeah.
This is not a small town.
Yeah, no, it's like a medium town.
Yeah.
It's on its way to a city.
It's a whole different ball of wax.
I think if the battle didn't happen here, it would look like Hanover by now. Gettysburg. Mm-hmm. Probably bigger than Hanover because it's a major crossroads town. Well, Hanover is too. So yeah, I think Gettysburg would have been like Hanover. Where you got the old town surrounded by blight and
all you have to do is
sprawl.
Look at the pictures from the 1960s. I mean, there were houses all over the battlefield.
Yeah. That's true, but there weren't developments, there weren't shopping centers, there were like little pockets, and those were people that didn't sell off to the government.
It could have gone that way, though. It could have easily taken that turn.
It could have turned into Manassas or Fredericksburg or something.
Yeah.
If Yeah, but I think that the battle being here has saved this because, I mean, it's great land for neighborhoods. You can imagine neighborhoods in Pickett's Charge and, shopping center
Colt
across
Park.
the street. Well, that's true. Yeah, it's called Park.
Yeah,
no offense,
that's
Darren.
what it's called. That's exactly what it is, people.
There is a saying here amongst the locals is you can't call yourself a history person if you live in Colt Park because you're literally shitting on the battlefield. When you you have a bathroom in your house. I didn't make that up. Yeah, that's what people have always said about people who buy in Colt Park and claim to love American history. Yeah, I didn't say that. Darren, I did not say that. All right, I just made that up. I just wanted to mess with Darren. He's probably not even watching anymore. All right, so here's what we're gonna do, Chris. Tell the audience, how do they get a hold of you if they want to move down here, if they want to do some real estate, or even if you live here and you want to sell your house, you can put it on the market for them as well, can't you?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yes. So I work with Keller Williams on York Street.
Right.
And you're welcome to get a hold of me that way. You can reach right out to me directly is the best way, of course.
And how would they do that, Christopher?
You can do that through email.
What is your email? Jesus, this is like, oh my God.
Am I supposed to spell out my email to the audience? Really?
Well, do you want people to contact you?
Of course I do. Sure, you can put it on there. I hear her laughing back there.
She's got a list of things she's gonna rip you a new a-hole about.
So you can reach out to CMORHOMES@gmail.com. That's cmorehomes@gmail.com.
But not more M-O-R-E.
No, M-O-R-E.
As in Morano.
Correct.
And a lot of people do want to know, it's in the comments actually, is Morano Italian for moron?
No, it is not. But I've had some questionable relatives. So.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Have you, did you hear that as a child? To say, what is that, Italian for moron?
I heard that until I beat up somebody once. Really
Which is
bad.
going to be, his name was Matt Calorie.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be going for a break right now. Well, listen, Chris, thank you for coming on. If you want, of course, you're welcome to hang out in the back and...
there's more?
Well, there's...
Yeah, it goes on and on.
Yeah, well, the girls have to do their news now. And, that's very important. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so you can sit in the back and the microphone's open. You can join in at that point. But, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with the news. Go ahead, get yourself a snack. We'll be right back. Thanks,
Been
Chris.
craving a Hot Pocket or a bag of popcorn? Now's the time to go and get it. We'll be right back.
Catch full episodes of AG Today live every Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern to keep up with everything that's going on in Gettysburg and with the Addressing Gettysburg community.